Welcome to our final module together. The name of this module is Paperwork and Process. So this module is going to be a lot of the nuts and bolts of real estate. Now, this module is going to be pretty unique because wherever you're watching, it's going to be done differently than where I'm at versus the next person who's going to watch this thing. Paperwork varies, the process can vary somewhat, the language. So I can't help you go through your particular agency paperwork. I can't help you go through your buyer docs for writing a purchase agreement. What I can do is give you some good practices, some good things to look for in the process from start to finish that a client's going to go through. Making you aware of that process in of itself can be valuable as well. So a lot of our time is going to be spent doing that, giving you some tips and tricks. These first couple of videos in this module are going to be talking about some major systems that you need to be using masterfully to be able to serve clients well. The video topic today, with that in mind, is going to be your lead management ability. I'm talking about your CRM and how well you're using it. Now again, your CRM is going to depend on the team you're a part of, or you might not even have one. Now your team very well might have some really good practices, in which case you're probably going to learn about it from them, but at its bare minimum, at its baseline, I'm going to give you some good practices on how to best use a CRM, and hopefully you'll walk away with a few nuggets even if your team's CRM procedures are really good. So before I keep going, let's make sure we understand, what is a CRM? Well, it's an acronym. It stands for Client Relation Management. Client Relation Management Platform. CRMs are these websites that are organized and set up for the sole purpose of you being able to store all your leads and being able to strategically manage them, update them, and keep tabs on them. It's a tool to help you stay organized with everyone you could and have helped. By now, I think you'll be very familiar with your CRM. But for using the CRM, I'm going to give you a few universal tips. We're going to be covering 4 things today. 4 things you should make sure you're using your CRM for. Now, before we can go any further, it's time to do a quick homework check from a while back. Have you created and finished your sphere list? That list of people you know in your life, that list of people that almost make up your wedding list. Again, the target size is 100 to 150 relationships you have. That's your baseline of people you can connect with, whether it's a strong relationship or a relationship you need to reconnect on. This sphere list is going to get uploaded into your CRM. And using your CRM as your guide, you're going to start doing lead gen with this list. We've given you all the ideas of what to do with lead gen. Your CRM is going to help you stay organized and on top of those efforts. So to stay on top of these efforts, we have to get good at organizing our leads. We got to start getting good at categorizing them as we're interacting with them. And the first way we can do that is to make sure there's some sort of pipeline that exists. Some sort of step-by-step stage we can filter our leads into based on where they're at in the actual real estate process. A pipeline can help you filter people based on if they're a new lead versus an actual client versus your pending clients, all the way to your closed clients. Imagine a world where in your CRM you can decide, I want to check on the status of all pending clients. And you can quickly click on one filter and see just your pending people. That's the value of having a pipeline in existence with all these stages that you can assign to your respective leads when applicable. So what are the stages of the pipeline? Again, this can vary, but I think at its bare minimum, the stages you want to have in existence are going to be new lead. Quite literally, the definition is this is someone you just added to your CRM, a brand new lead that maybe you met at an open house, out networking from a friend of a friend. It should be your goal to get someone off of that new lead stage as quick as possible. The next stage you want to really get to is attempted contact. Stage 2 would be attempted contact. That is you trying to initiate connections. Basically, everyone in your sphere should be at attempted contact. Your effort to reach out to them and engage them and get them to the next level of the pipeline, which would be contacted. You've established a connection, you're having a conversation with them, you're building relationships, you have had interaction with them. Now, we're going to let this work two ways. It's either to deepen the relationship, or more importantly, that you've actually had a real estate-based conversation with them. I'll give you a little bit of grace here, but you especially want people you've had real estate conversations with to be in that contacted pipeline phase. Now, those contacted people, you have a real estate conversation with them eventually, and the goal of that is to book some sort of real estate appointment with them. So be it going to show them a house, be it sitting down to have a consult, meaning you're going to go over the process with them. Doing either or, some sort of real estate action like that, means you could move them over to appointment. Appointment means you have an official real estate working relationship with them. Now, that doesn't mean they've committed to working with you. That just means, yeah, there's a meeting of some sort that's about to happen. The goal of that appointment pipeline stage would be to get them to the next stage of the pipeline, which is contracted. Contracted means they are officially a client of yours. They have signed off for you to officially represent them. What would come next after contracted for the pipeline stages? It'd be pended. That means you got an accepted offer on their buy or sell, and they are now a pended client. Anyone in this stage is on to all the contingencies that must be met for the closing to occur. And closing or closed is your final pipeline stage. Closed means they have successfully completed the transaction and they are now a past client. Pretty straightforward, pretty sensible pipeline stages. Major chapters of their journey from being a lead to a closed past client. Being able to filter everyone based on these can help you make sure you're on top of your pendeds, like I said, all the way to those people with strong potential that have an appointment set. And dividing and conquering this way can really help you stay on task and provide ultimate service to people in these crucial pipeline stages. So you have to have the pipeline set up, and you have to make sure you make a point to regularly update the pipeline stages as your conversations lead down that path. So that's one thing we should be using our CRM for, pipelines. What's next? Well, tags. Tags are pretty darn important. Now, you might call them labels. I'm going to call them tags here for this case, but it's interchangeable. Tags are designations you can assign to a lead specifically. Tags, unlike the pipeline stage, could denote the type of client they are based on something we like to call the ABCD prioritization scale. Now, what does that mean? That was a mouthful. The A, B, C's, and D's are tags you could set up to assign to people. And essentially it says, how soon are they going to be looking to make a real estate move? The more recent or sooner they're ready to make a real estate move, the more important it is to stay on top of them with more regular communication. That would be an A type of lead. So you'd assign an A tag to a lead that'd be ready to buy in 0 to 3 months. A equals 0 to 3 months, they'll be making a real estate move. Very soon, could happen any day type stuff. Now you have B, which is like 3 to 6 months. So it could be, coming up here very soon, but could take a little longer. Then you have C's, which are 6 to 12 months. And then lastly, you have D's, which are 12 plus months. By default, your entire sphere, when you don't know where they stand, would technically be D's. 12 plus months, you just don't know. It could be forever before they have a real estate move, let alone knowing when that will happen. So we have the A, B, C's, and D's as a way to sort people based on the urgency of when they might be making a real estate move. Now, we don't just have A, B, C, or D's as tags though. We also have a client versus a lead. What's the difference? I think it's pretty clear. An A lead is someone who hasn't committed to working with you that has demonstrated that, yeah, they're going to be making a real estate move very soon. It's your goal to stay on top of your A leads aggressively to make sure you're showing them value so they want to commit to you to become A clients. Again, you've signed an agreement with them, they're officially a client, and they're looking to buy very soon or list very soon. An A client. Conversely, of course, you have B clients, B leads, C clients, C leads, D clients, D leads. Again, depending on whether they're an official client or not, and then how soon their move is going to be happening. So knowing these most basic tags, we can kind of prioritize our leads another way. We can know without a doubt that our A clients and our B clients deserve the most attention out of all of our leads. They are officially clients. We owe them the duties of a realtor. We should be making sure we communicate with them at least once a week as a standard. Now, in talking with them individually, it's important to ask them how much they want to hear from you. And you should honor that with however many times they want to hear from you in a week, because those are your most important people, A and B clients. Right below that, you'd have your A and B prospects. These are your hot leads, people who are raising their hand and sooner than later are going to need help. Do not let those people fall through the cracks. At least once a week of communication should be occurring for those. Those 4 groups deserve that minimum once a week communication. Now, right after that, we would have our C clients, D clients, C prospects, then D prospects. Probably be your goal to communicate with them, I'd say for clients, at least bi-weekly. If you get to some D clients, maybe it's just once a month when you really know they've just slowed down. And then for your C and D prospects, probably at least once a month. So now we're organizing our people based on urgency. Their letter tells us how on the ball we have to be with them to make sure they're getting the service they need based on the timetable. Those are some important tags you can have set up to organize your leads, to stay organized. Then some other tags you'd want to have on there is to make sure you get credit for the work you've been doing. So you should be adding new leads to the CRM on a regular basis. And anytime you do that, you should make sure they have a tag on there that says, insert your name, lead. It's essentially you saying, yep, I met them at the open house. I met them out networking. I'm going to make sure my name is attached to them so there's no confusion on where they came from or whose lead they are. That makes sure you're given credit for the sphere work you've been doing with lead gen. So really what this comes down to is these A through D prospect or client tags, and then making sure you mark them as whether or not they're one of your leads. If they're a company lead given to you, obviously you're not going to do that, but you would still use the A through D client or prospect tags. This stuff is not the most glamorous, but it is so necessary to be able to organize your people this way, to stay on top of them, not letting anyone fall through the cracks. So we've got pipeline, we've got tags. Now we have an acronym for you to remember. An important part of using your CRM is to remember the acronym CAT squared. CAT squared. What does that stand for? That stands for complete a task, create a task. Complete a task, create a task. For every lead you have out there, those A, B's, and C's, bearing in mind that D is almost your default mode for not knowing where people stand, for those leads, right? If they're a client, obviously you know you have to have a follow-up plan. Those A through C's and the D clients, you should always have a task for them. CRMs are set up for you to be able to assign tasks. These are reminders for you to do something, to have some sort of communication with each individual lead or client in the CRM. What we often struggle with is having tasks, doing them, and making sure we have a follow-up to keep in touch. This is how people fall through the cracks. We forget about people, we lose touch with people, and we fail to hit our potential for how many deals we could get in a year because we let people fall through the cracks. We have to live by CAT squared. Everyone that I named there should have a task assigned, some sort of follow-up. If it's an A or B, like I said, at least once a week communication. C's could be bi-weekly, D's once a month. You need something in there to remind you, to reach out to them, to check in, see how they're doing. And as soon as you complete that task, you can mark it completed in the CRM, and then you should immediately add a note. Another common feature in the CRM is adding a note. That note should be an update of what was the outcome of that conversation, that interaction from the task you had scheduled. It could be like, had a great conversation with the Smiths, they're content to keep waiting for the right house to hit the market. I will reach out to them next week to see how we're doing. Or it might be, been looking at houses with the Smiths for a while, they've decided to let go of the hope for a 4-bedroom, they're okay with a 3-bedroom. Make sure to change the search. That's your note. That is a running journal of your history of serving people. And out of that note, you should have a new task to create right then and there. So in that last scenario, it would be a task that says, change search criteria from 4-bed to 3-bath, let Smiths know when the change has been done. Now that's your new task. As soon as you accomplish that task, add in a note to say, notify the Smiths, they're happy to hear it. Now you create a new task to make sure you're following up with them next week at a minimum. You want to demonstrate just a history of your service to them. That's something important for you to refer back to when you get busy and maybe you're forgetting a detail. Give yourself this history to help you stay organized, and give yourself constant tasks to make sure you don't forget about the Smiths and their request to you. Forgetting about them is poor service, and that'll start to translate to them not being satisfied with you as an agent. But honoring your tasks and referring to your notes and having that constant CAT squared cycle will keep you on point and make sure they feel like you're being proactive for them. CAT squared, we got to do it. Last thing for your CRM. You're going to have the ability to be a super busy agent who's going to one day have a lot of past clients. What can you do to make sure you never forget anyone you've ever worked with or communicated with? You should make it a point that in the CRM, be it at some note or some different place where you can place information about someone, you should make it a point to collect what I like to call 3 crucial Ford facts. 3 crucial Ford facts, CFFs. This is something that the client or lead cares about, something they really enjoy. You should be able to take at least 3 things about them and make sure you put that in there, so when you look up a lead years from now, you'll have something to help you remember, oh, that's who the Smiths are. I hate to say this, but if we've been in this long enough, you very well could start to forget people you helped out years ago. Hopefully that doesn't happen, because we're going to help you establish some good past client behaviors, but I think you get the point. 5 years since you've talked to someone, they walk up to you and you're just like, hey, you, that could be really painful. But what if you had a task that said reach out to the Smiths to wish them a happy 5-year anniversary of closing on their home, and you could go somewhere and see a note that says Smiths, die-hard Green Bay Packer fans, big fans of craft beer, coach their 3 kids' soccer teams for school and summer league. Those 3 things about them that they care about, that matter to them, help you say, oh, right, the Smiths, these living, breathing, actual people. That helps you jog your memory on who they are, and now you also have some conversation pieces you could follow up with them about. Give yourself that note, that special note about things that are really important to them. I'm not talking about their hometown or what type of house they bought. I'm talking about things that matter to them. Don't give yourself something that was like, yeah, they bought a 1-story. He's from Iowa. You can't reach out to someone and say, just, how's your house? And, well, how's the fact that you're from Iowa? No, document things that matter to them. Use that to keep a good relationship long-term with the CRM. There are some tips and tricks for you. Good ways to use CRMs effectively. These 4 basic behaviors with a CRM and using it regularly can help you stay organized, and be the best version of an agent for your people. Now, how you do this regularly, we've talked about it often. You need to schedule some time in your calendar. You need to have a Pomodoro power hour. You need to have a time slot where you are focused on just lead follow-up. And that's going into your CRM, looking at your tasks, using your tasks to stay in touch with people, find out what you can, update the notes, and based on what you found out, update their pipeline and tags appropriately. Do this, and you will be one heck of a great realtor. Good luck. Hopefully you got a few nuggets here, even if your CRM is up and running really smooth with good procedures, and use it. Use it regularly. You will thank yourself down the road.